So the Bitcoin bulls still managing to hold that price level of $60,000. In today's show, we're going to have a look at what some of the top performing altcoins could be leading into the final phase of the bull market, which we suspect is anywhere between 12 and 18 more months, which means you're at the right place at the right time. But unfortunately for the masses who tend to come late, well, they won't experience as much upside. So give yourselves a round of applause. A congratulations for sticking through the tough times. Smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. And let's get straight into the show content today. Banter bubbles on the daily time frame. A lot of the coins are up, of course, because Bitcoin is holding that key $60,000 level. On the hourly, also, you can see the outlier stronger coins over here. 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏 holding up, Lido holding up, Optimism holding up. The rest having a very, very slight pullback over there. Weekly gains still up. Monthly, still a lot of work to do. You do have HNT, which has been one of the top performers. Aave DeFi coming back, also pushing up 44.38% on the monthly time frame. So a whole lot to look at on today's show. And this is pretty much the state of the crypto market right now, which is some positive signs that a lot of people are overlooking. And as Smiley Capital says over here, this is what you can expect in the days, weeks, and months to come, right? There's a massive supply overhang from 5 entities in Q2 and 3, which is now officially coming to an end, right? $15 billion plus. Remember, we have Mt. Gox, we have the government coins, we have a whole lot of overhanging supply from Grayscale, which has been flowing out and being absorbed by the ETFs, and that's coming to its end, right? We have BTC compression lasting around 5 months already. We've spoken about that. That's according to our timing cycle. You're looking at things to start to fade out around that 6-month mark, which is less than a month away, right? A couple of weeks away, around 3 weeks away before we hit that 5 or 6 month mark. We have CZ being released from prison a few days before Q4 starts. And if anyone can bull post, it's CZ. Could he bring the pump back? Respect the pump. We'll see. We'll see what CZ can do for the space. That is CZ of Binance. We have TradFi returning to their desks in a few weeks, and this is one of the biggest reasons that you get these summer doldrums or the lull effect within the market. Over the summer months within the US markets, they close their desk, the volume drops off, and consequently this affects crypto at the same time, right? We have ETF inflows extremely likely to ramp up on both BTC and ETH as liquidity increases in that space and as TradFi comes back into the market. And remember, we have a lot of these big funds or institutional investors which have massive trading desks as well as thousands of financial advisors. I think JP Morgan has about 15,000, and they're going to be sending them out in full force looking to sell to the masses, right? Bitcoin and ETH ETFs, they're going to be coming in for that. And then we have of course the balance sheet about to expand. Rate cuts are on the table, and satisfactory inflation. We've reached near the 2% mark. So looking for easy monetary policy to come back into the market, and that always drives prices up higher. And then that lines up with the election. And I've always said that, Satoshi Nakamoto is an absolute genius, the way he created Bitcoin and the halving cycle to line up with the liquidity cycle, which just so happens to line up with the election phases within the US. And we have all of that coming to a head in the next couple of months, right? Historically, BTC lagging behind equities during low liquidity regimes is perfectly normal behavior. So if you take any advice from this post, he says that I know the expression beach ball underwater is overused, right? Imagine a polar bear trying to hold a massive Bosu ball underwater. Of course, eventually that wants to pop back up, and Bitcoin is the same at this point in the market cycle. He says you're not bullish enough. You should be almost fully all in. So we will analyze the charts ourselves and see if this is actually true, right? But he says respect the pump. It's coming. And then you got a frog that's, of course, snorting some bullish hopium candles over there. So let's get into some of the facts of what he mentioned over here. He spoke about the 5-month compression phase. That would be this over here. This is our consolidation within a very, very tight range. In terms of this range from top to bottom, well, it's been 33% downside, but most of the trading action has occurred between these two levels, which provided you with about a 25% range. And ultimately, this is all still long-term bullish, right? So bulls slowly grinding on up. Is it possible that you could reject from this key level and come down one more time, possibly even as low as $52,000? Absolutely, that is in the realm of possibility. You do have pent-up liquidity over here, but that would probably be the final dip buying opportunity. I think it's less likely that you're going to breach these lows. And as we approach the 6-month mark, as mentioned by the vertical yellow line that's running through the screen around 12th of September, somewhere around there is where we start to expect that price should start marking up very, very quickly, which gives you, in terms of days, about 20 days left. Really at a push, maybe about 31 days left, and then you should see prices going higher. Volume still very low. The daily exchange volume using the 7-day moving average is still pretty low over there, but it has flattened out, which means that sooner or later this should start to turn a corner, move towards the upside, and it most likely happens in alignment with TradFi coming back into the markets, and we should see that tick onwards and upwards, right? Again, showing the compression of the 5-month scale in the form of low volatility, best shown with this chart over here. This gives you the blue check mark that it is in agreement with that tweet. That is in fact the case. And if you look at the market right now as it currently stands, this is why we're chopping about still flat. If you look at the 24-hour long to short ratio, you actually have about 50.09% of market participants looking to short the market right now, which still opens up the possibility of that overhead liquidity in the form of their stop losses. And I'll show that to you on the lower time frames. 49.91% of the market looking to build longs at the moment. And he also spoke about the money supply moving towards the upside, and we're seeing exactly that, right? M2 money supply is up. If you look over here at the balance sheet of various households, also increasing towards the upside, and that just shows you a whole lot of money that's still sidelined and could come into the market. Fear and greed at 34, exactly the same levels that we were at yesterday, and the YouTube views are dropping pretty aggressively towards the downside. If you zoom into this period over here, it's literally just knife falling right straight through like a hot knife through butter towards the downside, showing that the sentiment is very, very short. So again, congratulations to each and every single one of you for sticking it out each and every day. When people get bored and they capitulate over time, remember there's the price capitulation to the downside, and then there's the time capitulation where people just leave, right? We're at that phase where most of them have left, and a few more may still drop off if we do continue on this trajectory of sideways price action for about another week or so, a month or so. But with that being said, this is where you will find your most rock solid entries into strong performing altcoins, which will basically make you all your money for the rest of the cycle. And that's what I attempt to address in today's show. So stay until the very, very end. We have the DXY now spending 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th day below this key level. So the breakdown's looking really, really good over here. And we know that's going to be great for crypto. So we looked yesterday as well at the 6-month, 3-month, 1-month time frame levels to see if there is going to be a support resistance flip over here. And again, getting above that $63,000 will mean that you've gained acceptance above these levels. And the question is, will you reject one more time from this trend line as you come into that zone? And I think it would be less likely, right? The way that I view this price action over here is that you had the proper shakeout, and you'll be lucky if you come back to full 50% of that wick, which will be down at $53,000. But whether you're going to take out this level once again, giving the people who sold the bottom the opportunity to get back in even lower is probably unlikely, right? I think it's less likely that something like that will take place. But resistance levels are resistance levels, and those need to be contended with and reclaimed. And the levels are still exactly the same, right? You have a weekly inside bar candle over here. That was the one from the 12th of August, comparing to this long wicked one over here. And pretty much that sets your trading range. So anything that comes into the top side, I said you could be looking for head shorts until such time as you gain acceptance above. And anything that comes to the bottom side over there at about 56K would be an opportunity to look for longs into the bottom of that range. When you leave one of these sides over here, you will know where the next trending move is likely to come into play. So still below the 21 exponential moving average, looking to get back above that. And then if you look at the daily time frame, price is still above the pivot level, that being the RSI as marked by the yellow line. As long as it's above $59,549, that still gives bulls the opportunity to continue to grind this onwards and upwards and look to reclaim some of these key zones which we've been focused on for a very long period of time, gaining acceptance above $63,000 and then taking control of the trend, proving that this would then in fact be your next high low and you're looking for prices to move higher. So Conservative traders are still stuck in the same place, which is a no trade zone, right? That's for the conservatives out there. For the aggressive traders out there, you would have been bidding here, and you also would have been bidding down here, which was a major support level coming in at $52,000. So we're holding on to that theory until disproven, right? We have the liquidity overhead in the form of $433.5 million worth, just below $62,000. That's $61,800, and that is on your weekly time frame. And you're seeing $7.84 million on your 12-hour time frame, also situated just below $62,000. That's $61,333. And this is what we spoke about a whole lot yesterday. We said, bulls are marching price up over here with higher lows, and now starting to create higher highs for the very first time. And we came down for the next higher low, almost back testing into the 50 EMA. And we're still waiting for those 3 candle closes. If you look at the price action over here, each time it's failed at these levels, right? You had over here 1 candle closed, next candle opened and went below the 200 EMA. This one over here, you had 1 candle, 2 candles, and the third one failed, right? Closing below the 200 EMA. And then you attempted it again, 1, 2, 3, failure below the 200 EMA. And we're still waiting for the same thing. So maybe over the next 12 hours or so, we can start to see 3 consecutive 4-hour candle closes occur above this 200 EMA, and the momentum may begin to shift. But you do want to keep in the back of your mind the pent-up liquidity that is occurring over here in the forms of, aggressive longs that are starting to build their positions and raising their stop losses over here. That means once you take the upside liquidity as identified by the pink box, there is a potential that you get slapped back down. So in order to tell what's happening over there, you're going to have to look at the lower time frames, and you're going to also have to pay attention to some of the flows that are occurring within the market over here, looking at the spot, the leverage, the open interest, the funding rate, as well as the liquidation levels. As you can see right now, it is definitely longs that are building up positions leading into that resistance. So for the low time frame traders, I do recommend just be cautious as price comes into these levels over here. Tighten your stop losses in the event that maybe, just maybe, it lines up with Jackson Hole event, which is happening over the course of today and tomorrow as well. Maybe something negative comes out of that, and you do see one more smack down to the bottom side. At the end of the day, I do think it's a great opportunity to milk the market for all it's got in terms of the ranges and the trends, and to trade the volatility while it is still here. Although in the greater scheme of things, we've been ranging, remember, it's a big range, 25% over the last 6 months. There has been ample opportunity. And if you go into whale room, you'll see that our traders are absolutely crushing it, right? These are the whale room traders. Christo Columbus up massively, 120%, 192%, 141%. 32%. These were just trades dropped yesterday live in, of course, whale room. And if you go through to our other traders, you have Josh over here also building a long position right now on Ondo, also looking for some profits, and Farouk, who's our scalper, 24.24% up over there on a GRT long. So we are dropping all of the trades in there live for your benefit. So for those of you who do want a little bit of a deeper touch to when it comes to your trading, remember, go through to the link in the description below. You'll see there is whale room. Sign up while you still can. Eventually, we're going to start to cap the amount of people that can come into whale room. So looking at the Bitcoin dominance, still waiting for the breakdown. Remember, it's inversely correlated to what's happening right now on the ETH BTC chart, which is in a falling wedge formation, Bitcoin dominance in a rising wedge formation. And you're seeing the same thing occur across a lot of the various different altcoins in those falling wedge patterns. So we'll have a look at some of those altcoins. I'm going to outline coins that I believe are great bets, at least for the longer term, and where the levels are that you could potentially gain an entry. This is, of course, Total 3, which will drive the overall altcoin sector. And this is still in the shorter term a downtrend, lower lows and lower highs. But as soon as you can break into the yellow box above 650, 660 billion, you should start to shift that structure and get back into the zone of strength, right? I've given a lot of lessons or videos on the timing factors of how long we think this bull run would last. So use that at your own disposal and decide for yourself when is right for you to start to build those positions. Personally, I'm in agreement with this tweet, right? I wouldn't necessarily go as far as saying that, you're not bullish enough and you should be all in or fully all in. I wouldn't go that far, but I would say that I'm pretty close to this level of thinking right now when it comes to what's happening in the market. So what are going to be the top performing coins? Well, we know that Solana has been one of the top performing, and of course TRX Tron tried to steal a little bit of Solana's thunder, but I'm not sure it's going to last very long. This has been a big move up, a long-term consolidation similar to Bitcoin. The longer the consolidation, the bigger the next breakout. And if you actually look into the data, well, the meme coin war continues, right, between Solana, which has historically been the top place to trade the meme coins, the cheapest, the highest liquidity, most volume, and the most opportunities. Many millionaires were created there. And then, of course, we had Tron coming up with Pump, right? And then BSC came out with Four.Meme, right? Four.Meme, the number 4 meme. And if you look at the revenue right now, well, Solana is taking back the reins. That's according to yesterday's data that came out. You have Solana over there. Yeah, of course, in green. And then you have second is going to be coming in with Pump. And then last over there is Four.Meme, which has just come out. So could they steal a little bit of the volume and liquidity from the Solana chain? Possibly. But I would say that they're quick to adapt, and maybe they were holding this card up their sleeve in anticipation of competitors popping up to Pump.Fun and Pump and coming in Pump and Four.Meme, right? So consequently, the card they held up their sleeve could be this, right? To on-ramp more users in a much quicker fashion. Amazing from Phantom, which is the Solana wallet. This is where everybody trades the meme coins. If you have a look at this over here, pretty interesting. So you can pretty much buy Solana or any of these cryptos straight through the Phantom wallet, just like you would pay for something, at a store where you tap your phone, or you tap your card, or you use your Apple Pay. So if you have a look at that, very simple. Use your Apple Pay, go through MoonPay. There you have it, and click on that and pretty much select how much you want, double tap, and the money should be in your account. This is going to bring a whole lot of new people into the market. It makes it dead easy for anybody else that, they don't have ways to on-ramp. We all know that Apple Pay links through your phone and is seamless, cheap, and very easy to implement. So I think that's going to bring massive volume into the market. Keep an eye out on that. Now, in terms of coins, there is a big list of coins that we can be looking at. I'm just going to read through some of my top picks. In terms of entry levels, they have all been dropped over here in Whale Room, right? If you go into Whale Room under Captain's Sake, or all the way down to the DGen dive section, this is where you're going to find most of these coins already charted for your own benefit in Whale Room. So let's have a look. Some of the coins that I'm interested in over here, let's just quickly switch to the portfolio. Okay, let's go through the list over here. Of course, Solana, one of my picks over there. Sui is another one that I'm looking at, coming close to the fair value gap. That could be it, right? Sui could start to get going. I do already have exposure. I would love more if it comes a little bit lower down to 74, but no guarantee that you're actually going to see that. So Casper, we all know that I've been very bullish on Casper for a long period of time. I've already got my bags packed, but if we do get another move down to 14.6, that would be an area of interest. I'm open to getting a bit of an injector position, which is currently also in a falling wedge formation, approaching right now that trend line. Now, it could start to breach through. It's just a little bit of a sloppy chart for me, so I need to wait. It's either going to break out and I'm going to get left behind, which is okay because I have plenty of other positions, or it's going to break out and I'm going to get a cleaner entry on the throwback into at least the downsloping trend line over there, the bump run scenario. So push up, bump, and then run. So I'm waiting for something like that over there. Ton, my exposure to Ton is through meme coins. We have resistance cat and resistance dog, so you can write those two down. Those are some of my top picks. NEAR, let's have a look at NEAR. I'm interested in NEAR. Very similar to the rest. Most of them look like they're in those falling wedge formations, but similar to Injective, kind of a sloppy chart. I need more from it before I can gain an entry, but I do have eyes on NEAR as a potential to get in. We spoke a lot about Mantra over the coming or the last couple of weeks. So there it is. It's been downtrending for 30 days. You came perfectly into the support and you were looking for a bounce. This is where you needed to see bulls step up and get price moving. You want them to reclaim very quickly above $1.02. That is going to be the prior range high where you break out, deviated back inside, and we want to see price move. Failure to do that could mean that you're going to be coming down a whole lot lower, possibly even back down to the bottom of that range on Mantra. So that's one for the long-term portfolio as well that I'm looking at. Scrolling through the list over here, let's see Anything else within this sector? Okay, EOS, I'm interested in EOS. Aether, let's go to EOS very, very quickly. There you go. EOS coming into this zone over here. If you do get one more sweep down into the horizontals, I think that's a great zone to get an entry. Let's see. Let's have a look. Maybe Tau, I'm keeping an eye out on it. AI tech, we've spoken about AI tech coming into the bottom of the range over here. Maybe if it does start to break that, I could get interested, but right now, not top of the list, right? Render, I'm also waiting for better price structure from Render. It's been pretty sloppy. If you go through to the old chart over here, you do have major support, which is in just below that 330 zone. So keeping an eye out on that. Now, this is the area where I'm sizing up pretty big in terms of my portfolio. We have Brett, one of my top picks, coming into the bottom of the range over there. Still got a lot of work to do to break that downsloping trend line. The other one that I have is Giga, right? Giga Chad putting in a bit of a dip, gave you an opportunity over there. Resistance dog I already spoke about. Ponky is the other one. So I have a Ponky position from, pretty much this wick low over here. I started to fill some. I think I got a bit more, 27 cents. So I think that's a solid pick. Popcat in Whale Room, we've been loading up on this dip over here. We had previously got in a small size over here. Big push up, came back down. We reloaded with size into this zone. So that trade is looking absolutely phenomenal. Myro, I do have my eyes on Myro. I don't yet have a position, but that's one to look at. WIF, also in a falling wedge formation, but a little bit sloppy, similar to what I mentioned with some of those other coins like NEAR. We need to see a little bit more work to be done here. Maybe break the structure, get above $1.91, and that could be possibly a decent zone to get an entry. Bonk, this is also one of my positions over here. I did scale a little bit into Bonk on this dip, but it is grinding into the support level. When you grind into support, you oftentimes fall straight through. So I am open to the possibility that you might see something like that. And if I do, I'm willing to build a bit more of a Bonk position over there. Okay, we have also MOG. Loaded up on MOG yesterday. Very, very good move over here coming into the bottom of the upsloping channel. Remember, guys, all of this was dropped way ahead of time in Whale Room. That is the benefit of being there. If you do want to join and you want the information first, the link is in the description. So MOG, one of the ones that I have in the portfolio. Let's see. Okay, what else do we have? Let's continue. In terms of the gaming sector, I haven't yet allocated there because I'm not convinced that it's reversing yet. There's been a lot of structural damage to the charts in the gaming meta and NFT section, and I need to see a lot more for that to start to shift. Let's go through into some of the other random coins within this section. I think in terms of this list, probably it's only going to be Rune and 𝗕𝗚𝗓. I have a position in Rune. I don't yet have a position in 𝗕𝗚𝗓 because same thing, the chart is a bit sloppy. But let's have a look. Let's quickly scroll through here. Okay, we're at Rune. Let's go to Rune. You guys know it. We looked for a long time. Sweep down into 295. We got that. That was the trade, right? That was the trade. Still in a downsloping trend line, so I am cautious over here. Cautiously bullish, waiting for the break of structure to get above. 𝗕𝗚𝗓, similar, right? A lot of these coins look the same. Go through to your charts. You'll see a lot of these coins kind of have this falling wedge formation, right? If you have a look at that, a lot of the charts are looking like this. I should probably make that a bit bigger for you to see. There we go. And this is what leads me to believe that sooner or later we will reach the apex on these trades and we should start to see pretty substantial moves. And I'm not looking to be one of the people that are left behind on those trades. Okay, scrolling through the rest over here. Let's see. Not much else. I mean, those are essentially some of the top picks, barring a few of the smaller coins that have been listed over here, like Bitcoin, that being the 𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗏 Sonic 10 Inu, that position over there. And we have a whole bunch of other ones over here. They're all in Whale Room. If you want them, they are there. Use the link in the description below. And then also, if you do want to win the Cybertruck, remember, guys, you are running out of time. 23 days, 6 hours left to go. If you already have a Cybertruck or you don't like electric vehicles for some reason, you can take the cash alternative. And of course, they will send that to you. For anyone else that wants to join into Whale School for free and you don't have the finances for Whale Room for whatever reason, then Whale School is entirely free. That's it from me, folks. I'll see you all on the next one. I hope you all have a stunning weekend. And cheers for now.